I had some high waders, I could easily get through this, but because I don't want to get my shoes wet, we're gonna find another way through this tunnel. Looks like there's a way up and over, but to do that you'd have to cross railroad tracks and it'd be pretty steep on the way down. I'm gonna try to go a little bit different way here, but it'll also be a little bit riskier because the way I want to go to get through here will involve me walking on a trail with a pretty suspiciously big backpack. But it's snowing out and it's pretty cold and windy, so I'd be a little surprised to see anybody out here. Gotta watch out for that building there because there's always people doing events and normal people things. So we're gonna try to go around this creek, up and around that way. So we just made it around the creek. Now we're on that trail I was talking about. And this is gonna take us under the railroad tracks through another tunnel into the other side. Let there be light. Now we can kind of see this gate's ending and we'll just swing around here. Snowing pretty good. Luckily, where I'm going, it's very well protected from the snow and wind. So it makes it fairly easy to stay comfortable and safe from falling trees. This is actually the hardest part of getting down here. Okay. Whoa, it's a heavy backpack. It's a lot of work. Gonna get into the thicket a bit. We've made it. Okay. Over the rocks. And that right there is where I tried to go through earlier. So we're gonna be pretty well protected from anybody walking up. You do gotta be a little careful though. As you can see, there are some cars, you can see some buildings. You can tell somebody's been here. Full ass campfire. Probably buried like that to hide the flames, perhaps, in that building, but it's hard to say for sure. Somebody was playing musical chairs. Wheelbarrow fell apart. So, the longtime viewers of this channel will actually recognize this place. But I'd be very surprised if you did, because it's changed a lot and I barely do. It just looks a lot different without any of the foliage. It's a great spot. So we're going to set up our tent. Right here, where that chair is, basically. They threw a bunch of junk. All right, welcome back everybody. Today we are doing a stealth city camp in the winter with our hot tent. So it is December 9th. It's obviously under 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius, or it wouldn't be snowing right now. So it should be a lot of fun. I kind of showed you how we got into this place. And next I'm going to show you how I set up my camp. So I've already found some chairs in here, so chair is not going to be a concern tonight. It's going to be really nice. Hopefully the hot tent is tall enough with me using this chair in it. So we're going to clean up a little bit. First thing we're probably going to do is clear a spot for the tent and then get the tent set up. Get us a little bit of shelter. We got to stay vigilant and quiet. It is a Saturday, so a lot of people are not working today, and there could be people out and about. Again, it's pretty cold out. It's going to keep a lot of people inside. It's going to keep a lot of people away from this spot in particular. This is much more of a summer, spring, fall type of spot. When it gets cold, not a lot of people are doing this kind of stuff. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Have a lot of rocks around here. We're going to have fun with our fires. Hopefully build something cool. So kind of just gonna go with the flow and see what we end up doing. It's about only 2 o'clock and we've got plenty of time. But with that being said, the days are extremely short now. Sunset is about 4:53 p.m. so it gets dark really early, and it makes for a super long night. So it should be really interesting. It's gonna be a lot of fun too with the snow. We haven't done a stealth camp in a while, so I wanted to get out and do this, and I thought it'd be fun to kind of test out some new gear as well. So I got a new pillow and a couple other nicks and knacks. So with that being said, let's get started. Never does really look the prettiest, but here it is. We're not done yet, of course. We still got some adjustments to do, but getting there. Want to get it puffed out a little bit. It's getting there. I'm gonna adjust the tensioners now. Kind of show you how to do that. Kind of my tip on how I'd like to set up these tents, because I think they are a little bit tricky to set up, especially as a first time setup. If you've never done one before of the pyramid style, they can be a little tricky. But gotten a little bit more experience with it. I'll show you kind of what I like to do. In fact, before we even set it up, you see how this is kind of off center, kind of points that way, and ours is right here. So like, we actually need to fix that. So we'll take this out. You want it perfect anyway. Yeah, that looks better. And we'll just, you never want to go all the way out with it either. Like, I could have went further out. With these, you don't want to do that. You want to do it with, there's still some slack left in it, because then you can always just tension it later, like this. It makes it a lot easier. Trust me, it really does. Just don't, on the first stake, go all the way out with it. Go just till it gets a little bit snug, like not even snug, like pretty loose still. And then you can just tension it later. And you can make it just ends up working a lot better. You may find as you go you have to readjust the stakes too. That's pretty normal. So don't expect just because you put it in once so you'll never have to take it out again. Anyways, let's get the rest set up. Okay, it's looking set up a little bit better nowadays. Notice it is close to the fire. I don't think we're going to be using that though, so it shouldn't matter. Plus we go too close to the tent spot. But looking good, I think. We're just gonna get the rest staked out, and then we'll get the top on and the flue cover on. Alrighty folks, so I had to take refuge in this tent because it's actually coming down a lot stronger than I thought it was. I don't know if you can see it through there, but everything's getting pretty wet. Like, everything's getting soaked. Yeah, coming down pretty good out there. Hard to believe we are in a city, by the way. As hard as this looks to believe. It's like a creek that runs through the city. It's got those wooded spots, you kind of know, like where you can't build housing development because it's too hilly and whatever. It's kind of what this spot is. Okay, so I have the mesh set up behind me, and that means it's time to really get starting on the sleeping part. So I'm gonna actually set up my sleeping gear before I ever set up the wood stove. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my sleeping bag rolled out, my pillow. I'm also going to show you what I'm going to use for this trip, because it's going to get into the 20s or at least -5 Celsius, somewhere in there. So it is going to get a little cold. Could even get into the 10s, we'll see. Okay, so for our first piece of gear, we're going to use our Sea to Summit Spark 28-degree sleeping bag. And in conjunction with the Sea to Summit 28-degree Spark sleeping bag, we are going to use our Sea to Summit Thermalite Reactor Fleece Liner, which is supposedly, I hardly doubt this is true, it adds about 32 degrees of warmth to your sleeping setup, which I hardly doubt that. It just seems pretty extreme. But I guess this is an extreme sleeping bag liner, so we're going to set that up too. Now for tonight's sleeping pad, we are going to switch companies. We're going to Exped. Now to be exact, this is called the Exped Down Mat XP9M. Probably stands for medium size or something, I'm not sure. But this is about a 6 to 7 R value, so it's for deep winter. And with it getting into 20 degrees, I really don't have an in-between sleeping pad. So either if you got a fall sleeping pad or a winter sleeping pad. And for me, kind of the general rule is when you really start to get into the 20s pretty consistently at night, that's when I would probably start to switch to the winter stuff. Otherwise, you can probably get away with the fall if you be tough, but maybe. Either way, I want to be comfortable, so I'm going to get the X-Bed out, get that blown up, and get everything set up. Well, we're kind of working our way into the PM. It's about 2:55. Snow's still coming down pretty good out there. Because it's about 32 degrees exactly, it's not going to stick, but still enough to get you pretty wet. We're going to get our wood stove set up, and then we're going to start processing some firewood. So this all takes a lot of time and a lot of prep work. That's why you really have to get out here early on these winter trips. So we're going to go ahead and get that wood stove set up now. I'm going to kind of put on a time lapse and show you all how to do that. As you can see, that was pretty easy. Literally, it was so easy to set this up. Okay, I'm really liking the way this looks. Actually, a little decent amount of winter weather out here. Wasn't expecting this today. Granted, it's obviously nothing crazy, but again, we are protected down here because there is about 20-mile-an-hour winds. We're just not getting any of them where we're at because we're kind of in an enclave. And we got our tent set up. We got everything set up. It's officially set up. The only issue is, first of all, it's a little sketchy with chairs directly over my tent. So we might have to get those down. Figure out something to do with those. And the chimney pipe, it's very close to this tree, which isn't ideal. I mean, the tree's been pretty destroyed anyways, but it's just not ideal. Don't think it will be a problem, but something we will kind of want to watch out for. Other than that, it's about 3 o'clock, so that means it's time to get started with firewood. We got to get cutting if we want any wood for tonight, because it's getting chilly out here. In fact, gotta make sure that's zipped up a bit. It's getting cold out, so we're gonna use that wood cutting to kind of get warmed up as well. So I'm gonna get started. I just looked through the tunnel down there. Might have even got it on camera, I'm not sure, but yeah, I was looking through there and I seen 2 dogs running. Looked like one of them saw me, but they didn't come here, so I should be good, I imagine. A lot of wood out here to pick from, so let's get chopping. Must be feeling weak today because that was pretty exhausting, cutting all that firewood up. I'm also constantly looking over this way for people. I see cars parked over there and I'm not entirely sure what that building is. It's already getting dark enough, some of the lights are turning on. It's only not even 4 o'clock. Kind of shows you just how dark it gets and how fast. We barely have any firewood. I mean, that's not even close for enough. Old fireplace again. I have an abandoned one. There's 2 here for some stupid reason. Be awkward if I seen somebody peeking in here and we made eye contact. Can't baton any wood out here because the sounds definitely travel. Like, there's people around here that would hear that, so that's gonna be totally out of the question. We can try to get it as dry as wood as possible though. There's a lot of wood to pick from here. It's a lot of dead wood too. I mean, I don't know, somebody just cutting these trees down or what, but still need to get those chairs down. That was you know what, but I cut it down. So let's go ahead and get some more firewood now. They're coming for me. It'll be dark in about an hour or an hour and a half, so that doesn't leave us a whole lot of time left to get even more firewood. I just put all of my firewood I had inside the tent to get it out of the snow, which, by the way, the snow flurries have stopped a bit, so we're pretty good in that regard. But we still need more wood because it's gonna be a long night and we're gonna need even more to make it through. So I'm gonna go down there and see what I can find for driftwoods. Talking quiet because I still gotta be careful. I'll let my guard down when night falls. It'll be a lot safer then, but until there's a park right across, and voices travel out here. I've heard people out here myself, so I know they do. So let's go ahead and get some more wood. Alrighty, folks. Let's check the time quick. It's 4:24, so that means we have literally about 30 minutes of sunlight left. So we're gonna keep on cutting wood and use all the light we have. You guys can kind of see that obviously night is almost here. These are the last minutes of light, really, until we're into twilight, and that'll be about it, and then we'll be ready to go in the tent. I hope I have enough. Hope that chimney doesn't ever get too close to that tree. Got the chairs off. Should be set for the most part. I think I'm gonna try to get a little bit more firewood, probably here. There's some lights out in the distance that scared me. Not gonna lie, that actually scared me. I always assume they're flashlights walking up, but it's just a light that turned on. It's kind of hard to get out here, so I'm not worried about anybody coming in this way. As you can see, you can barely see anything, so that means there's no more light left. All right, folks, let's go in the tent. let's get this party started. Okay, so I'm in the tent now and got my chair set up. I'm actually sitting in it. This is really comfortable. The outside is right here. So we got a good breeze rolling in. It's under 32 degrees now. It's about 30 or something. So we're gonna get this fire started. Here's our fireplace right here. Still rocking the Pomali T-Brick Mini, I think is what it was called. Can't remember for sure. This looks good. I think it looks pretty good, so we're gonna spark it up. When I'm hot tenting, I like to use these Duraflame Fire Star cubes. They're super easy to use. We'll load her up. I think we want to get that a little close to start. And we're going to adjust the flue quick, make sure that's open, which it should be now. Make sure this is turned on first. It can get kind of stuck there. Yeah, it's stuck. There it goes. It's a little temperamental. Doesn't like to play very nice. And we are officially hot tenting, folks. We have fire. There's one little tip I could give you all about hot tenting, and I would say that if you want to start this your heat up, you know, get it nice and warm in here, what you're gonna want to do is actually wait, because when you start that fire, you become a slave to the stove, and that stove is hungry and it's constantly wanting more. So you kind of have to like pick one or the other, you know. Do you want to have the heat and baby the stove, or do you want to tough it out and wait, you know, kind of like I did. You know, I kind of wanted to wait till night so that I could use as little wood as possible, because it is getting cold out. I don't know if you can see my breath. Yeah, a little bit. So I mean, it's getting cold, but once we zip this up, the heat coming off that flue will really start to help.
Preheating, where it's really misty. It's shooting oil everywhere. Right now it's burning the bottom of what oil is on the bottom of the pan. When the flame dies down is when you don't have any oil.
Nothing better than doing a little stealth camping, watching Kush in the Bush. Winds are raging pretty good up there. Nice and cozy where we are though, well protected from the winds, which is why I love this spot. So warm in here. It is so warm in here. It's got to be like 85, 80 degrees. I have to basically choke down the amount of oxygen this stove can get, because it's getting way too much and it's way too hot. So it's doing a pretty good job. Really a fan of it at this point. Uh-oh. So I just went out there to set up my camera, and I didn't think anything of it. I was using my headlamp, and what happened was I thought, oh wait, somebody might actually be out here on the other side of the creek. So I shut my headlamp off and looked, and sure enough, there was somebody looking right at me on their phone. So I don't know what to do, if I should back up and head out or try to stick with it. I'm trying to keep this light hidden because the light can be a big giveaway out here. Gotta crack the window for a bit of a breeze. Getting pretty warm in here, needless to say. Got some water going though. We'll be ready soonish. That's gonna be so good. That is gonna be so good. Cheers, folks. That is so good. You guys need to try some. If you ever, want kind of like a winter drink snack when you're camping or even at home, it's pretty good. Yeah, that is fire. That is seriously fire. I forgot to bring any coffee, so this is like my coffee right now. Just hitting the spot. About 7 o'clock, long nights out here. Can probably go to bed around 10 or 11, but we'll see. Boiling some water now because you can hear that wind. Can you hear that? That would all be getting us right now, but we're so well protected in our cozy little hot tent. Boiling some water because we're gonna put some of the chicken in that water and we're gonna boil it. It's gonna be a lot easier than frying, so I think we're gonna go that direction. We're gonna kind of get started here and make a delicious meal. Delicious, figuratively speaking, of course, and relatively, but it's gonna be good. So I'll show you how I do it. It's been pretty quiet for the most part. Every once in a while we get this big old gust of wind, but for the most part it's died down, and not a whole lot of sirens or anything right now. It's like a quiet Saturday night. Haven't really been too concerned about anybody coming up. It's kind of secluded out here, although earlier when those people saw me it was a little nerve-wracking, but we should be alright. There's the wind right there. Boiling some chicken right now. I'd say that's looking pretty dang good. Time's about 8:30, so right now I'll show you, cooking the rice. We just put that on there, so it's pretty fresh. Water hasn't started boiling, but it should here in a few. And then we can dig in because I am starving. And the weird thing about these hot tents is tonight in particular, because I have an actual chair, it is so cozy in here. You can just fall asleep just like this so easily. Like, it can happen so easily. Every once in a while you can feel a little bit of draft come in, but it actually clears the air and it's pretty nice. It's been beautiful in the hot tent. The flue working pretty good. Don't see any melting, so that's good. Could be a little bit right there. It's hard to say if that's fresh damage or old. For how hungry I am, I think this is looking pretty damn good. I'm gonna dig in and enjoy. Just finishing up that meal, and we are now rolling into the 9 o'clock hour. It's 9:10 right now, and it's about 25 degrees, or about -3 degrees Celsius. Somewhere in there, but we're big, comfortable in here. We're struggling to keep the fire going a little bit, but that's mostly because the box is so small and it just keeps going out. Forget to load it, but once I load it, it has no problem restarting. It's actually a little cold in the tent right now. I just restarted the fire just a few ago, so kind of waiting for some heat to come back. It's been a beautiful night. This is an awesome camp spot in the winter. I don't recommend it in the summer if somebody watching somehow really can find it. Come in the winter or fall when it's cold, or even spring, just somewhere in there when it's cold. Otherwise, everybody's out here. It's a very well-known spot. Well, this stealth camp hasn't been very eventful. Hasn't been too much craziness going on, and not a whole lot to listen to either, other than the wind and sometimes some cars and some horns and stuff. Police sirens every now and again, but I've been very comfortable in this hot tent. I mean, I've been in here for about 4 hours and 30 minutes now. It's a little stuffy, but it's very comfortable. Probably gonna go to bed here soonish, and then for tomorrow we're gonna be hanging out at the campsite. Probably make a little bit of fire, cook some breakfast, get some hot coffee, stuff like that. So them are my plans. Rolling into the 11 p.m. hour, folks, and it's been very cozy in here all night long. Been struggling to stay awake in this chair, but cheers. Okay, it's not too bad. Had some interesting malfunctions on this sleeping mat or sleeping pad that I'm on. Ooh, tree creaking there. Yeah, some interesting malfunctions on the sleeping pad I'm on, so that's gonna be fun to explain what's going on there. That's really annoying, actually. That is great. That is great. The welds broke, so like they puffed out. This makes it basically impossible to use. That's wonderful. What junk. I'm gonna have to get this sleeping pad addressed. I don't know if I'm gonna have to email the manufacturer or what, but this is bogus. It's getting late. It's like 11:30, 12, so I'm gonna go to sleep. It's about 28 degrees or -2 Celsius, somewhere in there. -2, 3, so I'll catch y'all in the morning, and look forward to some breakfast. Good morning, folks. I guess what time it is. This thing's kind of like in the way here because it broke overnight. Tried to fix it, but I was already in my sleeping bag when it happened, so I didn't do a very good job. Jeez, everything's just such a mess. We already got this wood stove going again. It's really, really, really cold. It got really cold last night. This is giving off some warmth already, though. And since we got some warmth in here again, that means I'm gonna get dressed and get out of this sleeping bag. It's already 10:30. I slept in quite a bit. Can you believe how impressive that is, to be able to sleep till 10:30 in a stealth camp location in the middle of the city? I mean, again, this is the middle of the city, but this is such an impressive spot. Well, we're dressed again. We are sitting in front of the hot tent, and it's about 10:30. We're just big chilling, really. You know, it's kind of breaking all the rules of stealth camping. You're really not supposed to sleep in, not supposed to be setting up a wood-burning stove in a hot tent, you know, betoning wood. I'm gonna make some coffee and some oatmeal. So warm in here. It's so warm in here now. It was cold earlier, but it's warm. It's probably got to be 70 to 80 in here, if not warmer. Cheers, folks. That's good. Good morning, guys. 11:30. How's that for morning? Almost made it a full 24 hours out here. Well, all good times have to come to an end eventually, and today's no exception, so I go ahead and roll this chimney pipe up. Still in the 30s, by the way. It didn't exactly, I mean, with the sun out, it feels pretty good. In fact, it feels really good. But it is still in the 30s, so it's a little cold out. Okay. Wasn't so bad. Already done. Just like that. That's empty now because I just dumped all the ashes into this fireplace. Nifty fireplace. This is like a primo winter camping spot. I hardly doubt there's gonna be like anybody out here. That's where my spot was, the only clean spot here. Some lucky individual will get to use my leftover firewood. If I don't make it back in time, that is. I have quite a bit leftover firewood. I was using that for trash. If I'd see trash, I'd throw it in there. I use that sweeper. What do you call them? Anyways, I use that to my advantage to really clear out this area a bit, and it ended up being pretty nice, although the ground's very bumpy. It's far from perfect. It's definitely far from perfect. There's a path that goes up here. There's an auto body shop over there. So yeah, we're all packed up. We're gonna head out. It was fun. It was a good time. It was a good time. It was a bit easy. It was a bit easy. Not a whole lot of anxiety. Fairly straightforward. Yeah, probably go to Casey's. Get some, get an energy drink and get some pizza. Maybe McDonald's. Buy one, get one for $1 McDouble. That sounds good right now. It's already lunch, so it's time to skedaddle. Get on with our day. Just a cool spot. I feel like we didn't get much done in terms of like building anything, but a lot of this was just to test out the hot tent and make sure I kind of got my gear dialed in going forward now that it's actually getting cold out. Got all these chairs set up to make it look like somebody's hanging out or having a serious discussion. Having a serious discussion out here. Cool spot. Glad I came back. I'm going up this runoff here. Kind of water flows when it gets rained on. In fact, that could be a old pipe. The coast is clear. Being seen on the trail is one thing, but coming out of the woods like that is another.